Hi, my little jazz smurfs around the world. Sandra Sherman here. Greetings from Austria. This is the lead guitar part for All of Me Gypsy Style. You can use it to solo over the chords video I also have up here on YouTube. I'll be teaching you the melody of this song as well as one chorus of soloing. I'll show everything slowly and in detail, and there is also a slow tempo version at the end of this lesson. I also have tabs to download for you. The link is down below in the description box. Just click the little arrow or more info or show more, something like that. All right, let's learn some cool gypsy lines. All of Me is in the key of C major, and we have the following song form. We have an intro where nothing is played, only the rhythm guitar plays, then a head, which is the melody, one chorus of soloing, and the last head, which leads us to the outro. Each of these choruses has an A1 and an A2 section. Now for the pick. It's very important in gypsy style that you use a hard pick, like this one. This is a Wegen pick from Dutch Michael Wegen, spelled W-E-G-E-N. And your picks, whatever you played, are supposed to be fat. So if you use a regular Dunlop pick, it's supposed to be at least 1.5 millimeters, or 2 millimeters. Those are the purple ones. The 1.5 millimeters light purple, and the 2 millimeters is dark purple or black. And it's supposed to be not flexible because of the sound we want to achieve in gypsy jazz, as well as the control in your right hand. If your pick is flexible and bends while you hit the strings really hard, like we do in gypsy jazz, then you have no control with your right hand. So 1.5 millimeters minimum and non-flexible. All right, here we go. And here is the first phrase. I'll play this for you now at regular speed first, and then I'll break it all down for you slow and easy. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. The first two bars are C major, and this is exactly what the melody is built upon. We have a C triad here, and we start with the C triad on the 8th fret of the E string, then the 8th fret of the B string, and the 7th and the 9th fret of the G string. Then we go back to the high E string and play 8, 10, 8. And then it's for then we go to the E chord, and here's an E chord, and it's again those high 3 strings played as a triad after one another. That's the 7th of the E string, the 9th of the B, and the 9th of the G string. So what we got so far is now we have one more chord of E7, and usually it's empty, but I fill it up with the G string on the 8th fret, then the 9th again. I play this 3 times, 8, 9, 8, 9, 8, 9. So I start on the 1 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right? Now we have 2 bars of A7, and we start on the A, which is the 10th fret of the B string. We have 10, 8, and then the 9th of the G string. Then the 8th fret. So this is the 8th fret, then the 9th of the G. Then we have the 11th of the B, the 10th of the B, and the 8th of the B string. Right? So A7, 4, 1. And this last one is already on the D minor, so this makes actually a D minor 11 chord. And now that D minor lasts up until count number 3 and I think 1, 2, 3 and 4. Yes, 1, 2, 3 and I put my finger on the 10th fret of the B string and make a pull off, which means I play only once and then pull off to the 8th fret. 1, 2, 3 and 4, and I'm on the 10th of my G string. And we're still on D minor, and that's the last for phrase number 1. So here's the entire phrase number 1 at slow tempo, at slow speed for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's phrase number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, our chord is an E7, and we start on the E, which is the 9th fret of the G string. Sorry, we play that twice. And then immediately after that, go to the 8th fret. There's a little rest, and then we have the 7th. And now we go up that E triad. 9 of G, 9 of B, and 7 of the E string. Here we go. And now we have an A minor 7 chord. And we start on the 11th of it. That's the 10th fret of the E string. 10, 10, 9, 8. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. That last one is the third of the chord and is ringing throughout the entire bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, and next we have a D7 chord, and we go up to the 12th of the B string. We have the same phrase again, actually, that same motif. 12 B, 12, 11, and 10. Then we play it again. Then we bridge over to the 10th of the E string and the 12th of the B string. And that's it for the D. And then we have a D minor chord, which is here. And we are on the 10th of the B string. And we have that same motif in a little variation. 10, then the 10 twice again, then to the 11th, then to the 12th, and then to the 8th. That's the G7 chord already, and this is the root. So 1, 2, and 3, and. And here's the entire phrase number 2 at slow tempo. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. This is the A2 section, and phrase number 3 is the first 8 bars of it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a variation of that motif now. Instead of, we now go. That's my interpretation, at least. So this is my arrangement. I arranged it a little differently, and everyone plays it a little differently. So, but usually the second A section has a little variation. So I went for 1, 2, 3. Okay, I play half notes now. This is the 8th of the E string and the 8th of the B string again, and the 9th of the G, like in the first A section, but the rhythm is different. 1, 3, 1, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And then we have this again. Actually, it's a pull-off, sorry. 8 of E, 10 of E, pulled off to the 8 of E again. And now we are on the E7 chord with the 7th of the E string. That's the highest note of it. And I count to 3 and 1, 2, 3. And then I make a pull-off from the 8th to the 7th. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm on the 9th of the B string. And then the 9th of the G string is right on count number 1 of that second bar of the E7. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. That's the correct counting. Then I count to 3 and again. 1, 2, 3. I hit that 9th fret again, pull it off to the 8th fret, and go back to the 9th. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... All right, first 4 bars. 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Right, now it's for the A7. We start on the A again. That's the 10th fret of the B string. We have 10, then 10 again, it's all very short, staccato. Then a third time, going down to the 8th fret. Then the 9th fret of the G string. And now, that's the 8th fret of the G, the 9th fret, the 11th and of the B, and the 10th of the B. So for the A7, all right, and then I go to the D minor. I'm on the 8th fret, that makes for a D minor 11 again. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 1. So we have 8. I count to 2 and I'll play that 8th fret of the B string two more times. 1, 2, and 3. Down, up, down. Then I make a puller from the 10th of the B to the 8th. And then it's the 10th of the G string, where I rest, and this is the end of phrase number 3, which I'm now, first let me repeat that D minor. All right, and now I'll play this at slow tempo for you, entire phrase number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here are the last 8 bars of the head, and this is phrase number 4. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, this is actually where the A2 part is different than the A1 part. In the A1 part, we went back to E7, and in the A2 part now, we have the following chords. This is important to know. F major 7, going to F minor, E minor, it's a descending line, A7, and then a 2-5-1, D minor, G7 to C7. So for now, it's important to know we're in F. We start on the 10th fret of the E string, and then we have a typical Gypsy embellishment. 10th of the E, and then it's 8, 10, 8. That's a triller or a hammer pull combination. So I hit the string only once, hammer to the 10th, and pull it off back to the 8th again, all on the E string. And then I play that 7th fret of the E string, and it's all very quick, very, very fast, and back to the 10th. It's all on the E string. 1, 2, 3, 4, and. One more time. All right. Then I stay on that E string, and we're now on F minor, and we play that 8th fret, and we play it twice, right? And go to the 7th, because now we're on the E minor 7, and this is a chord tone of E minor 7. I play it twice, staccato, so really short. And then I play an arpeggio. This is just the upper triad of that E minor chord, okay? 9th of G, 8th of B, and 7th of the E string. There's a little rest between the B and the E string. Right, so. All right, from F. 2, 3. You count to 3. 1, 2, 3, and now you're on the 10th of the B string. 2, 3, and 4. And then it's for the D minor chord, and we are on the 8th fret of the E string. 1, 2, another embellishment, a triller from the 7th to the 8th and back to the 7th. And then to the 10th of the B. So the D minor chord, okay, starts on its 7th, which is the 8th fret of the E. 3, 4. 1, 2. 1, 2, triller, and 10th of the B. Right? Then I go, it's for the G chord, I go to the 12th of the E string, play it twice. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that last C chord, I play the highest note of it. That's the C, its root. That's the 8th string of the 8th fret of the E string, and it's got to be really short because we have a general stop here. Everything stops, and then we have the pickup bar for our chord solo. Okay. Here's the entire phrase number 4 at slow speed for you. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4, 1. Pick up. Now I made a nice little solo for you, and this is the first 5 bars of it, and it's phrase number 5. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right, you remember how we ended on the staccato C note at the end of the theme, at the end of the melody, or head it is called, and it's a full bar of stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's another one. That's the last bar of the head, and it's totally empty. And because usually people don't want it totally empty, we play a pickup bar. That's to pick up the solo. So we start the solo early, 1 bar early. So this is over D minor and G. And that G is actually, it's altered because it goes back to C. So our first line is going to be a G altered line. I play it for you. This is actually a diminished line, which is something we can substitute over a G altered chord. Here would be our G7, and this is the 5th of it. We start on the 10th of the E string and play a diminished arpeggio backwards, descending. 10 of E, 7 of E, 9 of B. That first one is long. It starts on the 1 and 1 and 2 and 3. Then it's for the 10th of the G string, the 7th of the G string, and the ninth of the D string. 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and now we go to the first bar of the actual solo. So now we're on the C. And I go over from the 9th fret to the 10th fret. I play it. I slide it actually. I slide over, so here's my C chord, and that's the root. And now I play a triad. Gypsy jazz can at times be really simple because we use a lot of triads and simple chord stuff and outline the chord. C, E, G, that's a triad. A 10th fret on the D, we slide over there. Then the 9th fret of the G and the 8th fret of the B string. Then I go to the 10th fret. That's a little embellishment, that's a 6th, and back to the 8th fret. That's like da, 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 da. And the second bar is still C. I slide to the 12th fret, which is a different position now, but this is a C major chord, and this is its third. 12th of the E string, slide. Then the 11th, that's a chromatic tone, and then the 10th, right, which would be C major 9. All right, here's the C7, a C major 7, 3, 4. Now we go to the E7, and it's an altered chord because it resolves to A7. And this E7, just imagine it here, because we start on this 7th, actually we start on the 8th, but we pull it off to the 7th, so on count 1 we are on the 7 and 1. Then I go backwards, like in the head section, in the melody. 9th of B, 9th of G, and now I go back the A harmonic minor scale, because E7 is the 5th grade of the A harmonic minor scale. Actually, it would be called E Phrygian dominant, I think in English. I just call it EHM5, because it's the 5th mode of the A harmonic minor scale. That's the 10th fret of the D string, the 9th, the 7th, and the 6th. We stop at the 7th, and now we embellish the 6th by making a little gypsy trill again. 6, hammer to 7, and pulling off again. And then we go to the 7th of the A string, which is the root. Here's the E7. All right, so that E7 part is. One and two, 3, 4, 1 and 3. And here's the entire phrase number 5 at slow tempo for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And here's phrase 6 for you at regular tempo first. 1, 2, 3. All right, we got some nice gypsy lines in here. First, we start on count number 4. This is a pickup for the upcoming A7 chord. And we are exactly in this position on the 5th fret. We start on the 5th fret and of the D string to the 6th and to the 7th. 4 and, that's the 5th and the 6th. And now on count 1, I'm on the root, on A. I go up the arpeggio to the 6th of the G string, to to the 5th of the B string, 1 and 2, this is short, the 8 of the B string, this is short also. And now, because we are in an altered scale actually, because that A is gonna resolve back to D minor, I play a flat 9 and a sharp 9. That's the 6th of the E string and the 8th of the B string. And I have my Gypsy triller thing again, which is used very often. Hammer from 6 to 8 and pull back to the 6th. This is a triplet. And then I go back to my root on the 5th of the E string. I go back to the arpeggio, descending arpeggio now. 5th of E, 8th of B, 5th of B. And it's 3rd, that's the 6th fret of the G string. Okay. One more time. 1 and 2. Learn that line and use it whenever you are in a position where you can play this chord from the E string. Play it in all positions. It's very often used. Okay. And now it's the resolution to the D minor. And here's something really cool. Gypsy players do that a lot, and I included such a trick in my solo for you. This is the 5th and the 3rd of the A chord, and moving 1 to the right makes it the root and the 3rd of the D minor chord. Ain't that cool? So from A, 7 actually, to D minor, you can slide up 1 to the right. That's the 7th and the 6th now of the G and B strings. Then I play a couple of notes. To be exact, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of these. And 1 and 2 and 3, up to the count 3. Then I go back, just for a little variation, and go back again. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right, play both strings. Second bar of D minor, I go up 2 frets. I'm on the 9th of G and 8th of B now. And this is just kind of a passing thing. It's within the scale, but it's not a good thing to land on. And we're not going to land on it. It's just a passing thing. Because what I'm going to do now is I go over to a better thing for D minor. I go to the 10th of G and the 10th of B. I glide over with my middle finger and I add my ring finger. This belongs to the D minor chord, D minor 7, whatever. Then I want to go to the upcoming E7, and I do that by playing more chord tones of D minor first. That's that same we had before. I leave my ring finger as it is on the 10th of the B string, and I add the 8 of the E string. That's the interval of a third, always pleasing for the ear. And by going down 1, we end on chord tones of the E7 chord. That's the same cool thing we had here, right? From one chord with chord tones to a completely different one with the chord tones, just one up or down. So now we're on the 7th of E and the 9th of B. Here's that entire phrase, not the entire phrase, just the D minor thing. All right, everything up until here. Where did we start? We start on the A. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. I count to 3 and now, and then I'm on E7 now, and I play a lot of chromatic stuff here now. This is my arpeggio, and between here and here I have 2 chromatic notes. I start on the 10th of the E string, which is the D. I go down onto the 9th and to the 8th, and I pull off to the 7th, so I'm on my 5th of the chord again. Right, so from 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and now I go back to G sharp, that's the 9th of the B string, and I descend my A harmonic minor scale again. That's what I can do as before on E7. That's the 10th this time on the G string, the 9th, the 7th, and the 9th of the D string. It's almost like before, a little different, but the same scale. All right, E7. One more time. 1, 2, 3. And now it's to A minor, the resolution, and all I do is I slide up 1. I'm on the 10th of D now, and I have this beautiful chord here now. Or this one, whatever you like. 10, 9, 10, 7. That's a typical Gypsy chord. It's an A minor add 9. And I'm gonna play that arpeggio one after another. Slide to 10, 9 of G, 10 of B, and instead of going to the 7 of E, I slide to the 12th of B, which is the exact same note, right? That's an A minor add 9 arpeggio. And minor or general add 9 arpeggios are used in Gypsy all the freaking time. So you gotta learn those arpeggios. All right, and I stay on this here now for almost 2 bars. So I do nothing else on that A minor because we played a lot and now we wanna breathe, have our solo, give our solo a little rest. Okay, here's the entire phrase number 6, I think we were. Yes, 6, at slow tempo. 1, 2, 3. And here are the last bars of the A1 section of our solo, and this is phrase number 7. Here it is. 1, 2, 3. All right, we end it with that A minor, beautiful A minor at 9 arpeggio in the previous phrase. You count 3, 4, next bar, 1, 2, 3. So it's almost 2 bars where you play nothing. And now we have a pickup to the D7. And remember, I told you, learn that arpeggio on the A7. We're gonna need it for D7. And here it is again. We have a pickup from the B string 13 to 12. And now, on the 10th to the B string, I play descending my arpeggio. 10th of B, 11th of G, 12th of D, then the chromatics on the 11th of D to its 7th, that's the 10th of the D string. And now I ascend it, is that correct? I'm ascending it. Backward, back up. 11, 12, G string 11, and 10 of the B string. That was straight, now we swing it. then it's 7th, that's the 13th of the B string twice. So with the pickup, 1, 2, 3, 4, all right, next is the D minor 7 chord, and we have that same arpeggio but in minor. All right, all you need to change now is that third of the chord, and that is from the 11th of the G string to the 10th. So guess what? Learn that arpeggio as well. You're gonna need it a lot. So now we have a pickup on count 4 again. We pick up on the B string 12th now, 11th, and it takes me to that 10th. Now I embellish my arpeggio a little bit with a note that is not included in the arpeggio. 10th, I go to the 12th of the G string, which is the 11th of the scale, and I go back. And now I play my arpeggio. I bridge over to the 10th of the, what is it, G string. 12th of the D string, chromatic again, 11th and 10th, right? With the pickup. All right, now I have a G7 coming up, and I glide down, I slide, it's an audible glide, it's called a slide. To the 9th fret, which is the third of that G7. Right. And now I play a not very typical Gypsy line. I included a Charlie Parker bebop line because it's just laying around here, so I needed to play it. All right, this is the 9th of the D. We are in a G altered scale now. Then the 12th of the D. Then the 10th of the G, the 12th of the G. That's just the arpeggio, G7 arpeggio. And now, that's the flat 9 and the sharp 9 of the scale. That's where are we? 9th of the B string, hammering to the 11th, to the sharp 9, and pulling off again. Going back to the 12th of the G string and the 10th of the G string. Here's the G7 Charlie Parker line. With that slide before. And then we have the resolution, which is going to be in the next phrase, okay? Just in case you're wondering. All right, here's that entire phrase number 7 at slow tempo for you. 1, 2, 3. This is the A2 section of our solo now, and it's getting a little busier. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, some nice chord stuff in here. First we have the resolution. We start on the C major, or 6, 6, 9, some major group chord. And we came from the Charlie Parker line on G7. Alteration needs to be resolved. And this is our resolution on the C chord. I play the 9th of the G string and then the 10th of the D string, and this is the third and the root of our C chord. Okay, here's the C major 7, this is the third and the root. And we have a rhythmic motif now. Is that correct? Motif, yeah. And it's 1 and. This is our rhythm. All right, because this is gonna continue for the next couple bars. I play the G, the D string after it, then I have my rest, and then I play both strings. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. All right. Then I climb up my C chord. Here is my C chord. I played the root and the third, and now I play the third and the fifth. And this is the G string 9th fret and the B string 8th fret, and I play them simultaneously. I play those two first, then I go 1 to the left, 8, 7, and I go back up. Same rhythm. 1 and stop and 1 and, okay? Now it's for the E7, I do that same thing. I play the 7th of the E string and the 9th of the B string, and this is parts, those are chord tones of my E7 chord, okay? While I usually never play this chord, this E7, I play parts of it, okay? So in my solos, we have that same thing, 7 and 9, and I'm 1 to the left, and 1 up again in that same rhythm, 1 and 2 and I do the same thing 3 frets higher. We are on E7 altered. This is not only part of the E7 chord, it's also part of a diminished chord. This would be the B diminished, which is a substitution for an E7 chord, altered chord. And diminished chords, I can move up 1, 2, 3 to the right and do the same thing. So we're on 10E, 12B, 1 to the left and back up to 10 and 12. So for E7 I have, so from C, 3, 4, E7, and now it's for some fancy gypsy stuff. We have this stuff going on, and this is A7, and I use diminished chords which substitute for an altered chord. Okay, here we go. I have my first diminished chord on the 11th of D, the 12th of G, 11th of B, and 12th of E. I hit it real hard, and now I release the pressure of my left fingers, and I get a scratch. So no audible tone, no audible sound, but just, all right? And I have 2 16th notes, 1 down, 1 up, and an 8th note down. So that's, can you see that? That's my strumming pattern. So first note is pressed. Now these scratched notes, I need to play while I move down, because it really doesn't matter if you play them here or here or here. There is no sound, it's just a scratch, a noise, okay? No audible tone pitch, right? And as we learned before, we can move our diminished chords 3 frets up and down a fretboard. And this is what we're gonna do. 1, 2, 3 down, we are on the 8, 9, 8, 9th fret. Still a 7 flat 9 or some diminished chord. And I do the same thing. I hit the first, and then I have down, up, down, scratched. See, I'm already here. Because you need to focus on that new chord. It's like driving a motorcycle. You need to focus the end of the bend and not the tree. So if you don't want to end up in the tree, don't keep your eyes focused on this one, but when you're scratching already on to the next one, focus on the 8th, 9th fret, right? Then we have those scratches again. And while we scratch, we move down 3 more frets. Brings us to the 5th, 6th, 5th, 6th fret. And one more time on the 2, 3rd fret. right, and this one also has the scratches and moves up again to the 5th, 6th, 5th, 6th fret. Now I hit this 5th fret once, no scratches, and another time on the 8th to 9th fret once, no scratches. So the scratches end before the 5th. All right, the entire A7. 3, 4. One more time. All right, and here's the entire phrase number 8 at slow tempo for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here are the last couple bars for our solo. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Remember we come from that was an A altered, and we need to resolve this to a D minor. And here I see a D minor chord, and I just need to move one to the right, and I play only that interval of a 6th. What I get is the 10th of the G string and the 10th of the E string, just one to the right with these two fingers. Since we strum the strings, we need to mute the B string in between by flatten your ring finger so it touches the B string ever so slightly to mute it. Also, with the tip of your ring finger, touch the D string above, because to make sure whenever you hit that D string accidentally, it doesn't ring. All right, we have that one strum. 1, 2, and I start on the 12th of the B string, I slide to the 13, here's my D minor shape. Then I go to the 10th of the, I slide from 12 to 13, and then I slide to the, then I go to the 10th of the B string. And I end on the 12th of the G string, right? And now I add a little blues line. I have my blues pentatonic here. That's what I played. And now I add the blue note by sliding out to the 13th of the G string, going back to the 12th, the 10th, and the 12th of the D. That's a really bluesy line, right? And now we have our different chords from the A1 section. Remember, I told you need to memorize these. This was the F major, F minor, E minor, okay? A, etc. Because now we are outlining these chord shapes in our solo. I made a motif thing again. I slide to the 3rd of the chord from the flat 3rd, which makes it a little bluesy again. I start on the 9th fret of the B string and slide to the 10th. Then the 5th of the chord is on the 8th fret of the E string. Then a little embellishment, that's the 10th fret, and this is the 6th of the chord. Now I slide to the 12th, which is the major 7, F major 7 chord, and back to its 5th, and that's the 8th of the E string again. And that's my motif. Actually, there's a rhythmically different motif on the second bar now, which is an F minor chord. All right, and I start on its minor third. That's the ninth of the B string. I go to its fifth. That's the eighth of the E string. The 10th of the E string is an embellishment to the 11th, which is the 7th. So I'm outlining this chord. I could play it with my chord actually as a chord melody. I slide from the 10th to the 11th. All right, F major, F minor. Now I'm on the E minor. One to the left. I start on its third again. I start on the 8th of the B string. I go to the 10th, 7th of the E string, and 10th of the E string, and back to the 7th. Right? Now to the A altered. That's the 5th of the B string, the 8th of the B string. That's our A7 chord. The root is on the 5th of the E. And because we altered, I add a flat 9 into it, which is the 6th fret of the E string. Right? Now it's for D minor 7. Here we have a D minor 7 chord. I start on its root, the 3rd of the B string. Then go to its 3rd, which is on the 6th of the B string. Then the scale note 11th, that's the 3rd of the E string. Its 5th, that's the 5th of the E string. Now I make a little gypsy embellishment. I go from the 3rd to the 4th. That's a blue note, bluesy, and pull it off again. All right, so from beginning, I forgot, goes back to the 6th of the B. And now it's for an ending line on G7. And I use actually a C major line, which suits perfectly fine over it, but I don't play the C. That would be the avoid note, okay? I play it at the end. I start on the 5th of the B string, go to the 3rd of the E string, go back to the 5th, 4th of the G, 5th of the D. This is all chord tones. 2nd of the D string, 4th of the G string, and now it's the C chord, and I played the C note that I saved for that C now on the 5th of the G string. Staccato really short. Oops, sorry. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1. And here's the entire phrase number 9. Yes, for you at slow tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're back at the head section again. This is the last head leading us to the coda, which is the outro. I'm not going to repeat all of the head now because in a minute you're going to see it at slow tempo anyway with the playback. So I show you where we take our different way to the coda. We end on, right? This is the ending of the head. We play that D minor, G7, but we don't play that last C for the C note. But what we do is what we often do in jazz also, we repeat the last phrase twice. So we have 3 same phrases, but those 2 repetitions are played with variations. So our first repetition is, it's almost the same. We start on the 8th fret of the E string, but on the 1 and, and we play twice. 1 and 2 and, then I go to the 10th of the B string, to the 8th of the E string, 1 and now we don't go to the 12th like before, but on the G7 we go to the G, that's the 15th fret, and to the 13th, that's that was the root, and that's the 17th, the 7th, right? 1 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we repeat that in a variation. We are back on the 12th. We start again on the 8th, 1 and 10th of B, 8th of E, and back to the 12th, like the original line. And those were the 2 repetitions. I repeat them, 3, 4, 1. 1. And now it would be for the stop, but we don't play it. We play an ending line, which is very common on the C. 1. Instead of only the C, okay? So an ending line for C. Remember this, memorize this, and transpose it to whatever you need for other songs, for other tunes. We start on the root. This is the 8th fret of the E. It's a C. And it's the 1 and again. 1 and 2, we pull off to the 7. And we go down the scale now, the C major scale. That's the A, it's the 10th fret of the B string, the 8th fret of the B string. Then I don't play the F. It's often played, but I don't like it, so I play the E. That's the 9th of the G string, 7th of the G string, the 9th of the D string, and then I slide to the 10th of the D string. And now I play my chord, 9th of the G, 8th of the B, and 8th of the E. That's just a C major chord. 3, 4, 1. All right, I play the entire coda for you now, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. that was fun. I hope you had as much fun as I had teaching you the lead guitar part for all of me. If you want to go check out my other video on the rhythm part for all of me, and don't forget to hit that like button for if you like the video, and the subscribe button if you don't want to miss out on new videos. I see you next week. Ciao from Vienna. Baba. Servus.